Hi everyone, Javi here from Variable Play and welcome to Open Game Night. Kuha ko ba scripting ni Ron?
Oh yeah, that
Oo nga
that,
eh.
that was
Nah,
sexy.
Very,
perfect.
very ASMR. I know.
So, welcome to Open Game Nights, everyone. Do not adjust your television sets. It is a very, very special episode tonight. We don't have the usual crew. Instead, we have the inmates running the asylum.
Yeah.
So, joining me tonight, we please everyone introduce yourself. Starting off with here to my side.
All right, it's Keo. You know who I am. Here we are, I'm Cam.
I'm Jake, and I don't know if you know me, but if you know me, I pity you. If you don't, I pity you now. Because you're gonna know me.
Yeah, get your news fix from Jake.
Yes, I'm part of the new show with Ron and Denmark.
Anchorman.
And last but not the least,
All right, Morgy here from Tabletop Gateway, and I'm one of the newest member of Variable Play Network. Catch us soon at G's at the Table.
all right. Awesome. All right, so we don't have our usual Denmark plugging in the invites for tonight's episode. So hopefully we're gonna have some people watching very soon. But before we get started with our topic
How
for
about
tonight,
sharing?
so
No one's gonna
yeah,
share
like
this?
like, share, subscribe, do it. Tell
So
all
we
your
have,
friends.
we have to do the push out thing for people to watch that. Shish.
Yeah, well,
Sheesh.
the link to the episode only really goes live and can be shared once we are live. So it has to
No, that's
happen
right.
while we're streaming.
So that's what Denmark does, diba?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Denmark's not
These
here,
are-
so
I
Sige.
shared it na sa Tabletop Gateway.
Oh, there
Oh,
you
yeah.
go.
Hey,
Thanks,
Morgan.
bud.
There you go.
Share it na rin. Sige.
Hey, that one viewer, you can share this video for free.
We're
I'll just drink.
technically challenge crew of ano.
Yeah, no, it's like tonight's gonna have some technical difficulties.
Yep,
It's a
yep.
thunderstorm tonight.
Oh,
So
yeah,
everyone's
no.
indoors and safe.
Yes, stay safe, folks. There you go. More viewers, unless that's Jake on his phone.
That's me on the phone.
That's
Okay.
Jake. Okay, hey Jake, how are you doing?
Guys,
how you
samahan
doing?
kami. I'm gonna post this on PGT. Guys, samahan nyo naman kami.
We're not that lonely, are we? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the rounds with what games have you been playing the past few days?
Oh,
Let's start with Javi.
Star Realms. A lot of Star Realms.
On your
been-
mobile?
Yeah, so they have like weekly events that I pretty much try to stretch on for as many wins in a row as I can do. And this most recent event is actually pretty difficult because it just breaks all of the rules of the game as usual. Other than that, it's mostly really been a lot of focus on just selling magic. So not really playing, mostly selling.
Oh, the grind, of course. Morgie, what games you been playing?
all right. I've been playing Pokemon Unite after work every day. And been playing Pokemon Go rin with my wife kasi since last weekend, my event. So yeah, we also played Smartphone Inc. for the first time. So trying to to lessen our shelf of shame. And,
Shelf of shame.
yeah, marami.
I thought it was called opportunity, not shame.
Yeah,
Shelf of opportunity.
Yeah,
And,
it's your spin on. It depends how you look at the shelf.
right.
That's right, that's right. All right. How about you, Jake?
Well, you know me. I talk about this all the time. I play tons of Magic Arena. And,
Yes.
and I love in the last 2 weeks, Magic Arena has been giving away free drafts, so you can get the
Yeah,
free
I
draft.
saw your giant draft picture.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So there are every week. Crazy. Every week
Yeah.
there's a new expansion that gets a free draft. So last week it was Amonkhet, which is the Egypt-inspired draft, and then this week it's Kaladesh, which is the India technology-inspired draft. And
Right.
I've been making burner accounts so I can get more free drafts. So that's
Just
what I've been doing.
Just to draft.
just to draft. Awesome. So that's what I've been playing a lot lately.
Can you transfer those drafts to your other accounts?
No.
No. It's just another burner account that you are trying to progress into Mythic with. So
Now,
that's me.
quick question. Since Denmark is not in today's episode, have you played a match against him in Arena?
No, because Denmark likes to play constructed. He wants to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Oh. So he actively avoids you?
He plays constructed. That's tournament stuff, man. That's not me. I just
Oh,
want to
that's
play draft and play around.
When I was playing Arena, all I was doing was brawl. Because
Oh,
it was
see,
the
diba?
closest. It was the closest thing to Commander.
Exactly. So that's a nice thing. There's so many ways to play Magic now. You can do draft, you can do constructed, you can do brawl. So that's why Denmark and I never cross paths online.
Ooh,
That's okay. That's okay.
that sounds like a challenge.
A challenge, like a Pokemon challenge.
Open challenge to Denmark. When you're finally watching this episode, or maybe you're watching it now while you're working.
When our eyes meet, like Pokemon trainers, we have to battle.
We have to battle. It's a must.
It's a must.
Well, I have been playing a multitude of digital games, figuring out what to play for my next
Your
review,
next
which
episode.
I still won't reveal it. But lately, I've been playing the Red Solstice 2. It's like the original Warhammer 40k, the Squad Tactical. Which one is that? Dawn of War 2. There you go. Very similar to that, and it's this game. Oh,
Four people wasting time.
Hey, promise, folks, we won't waste your time here. Not that much, at least. So yeah, it's a co-op game where as a group of four Marines with different four Marines.
We're gonna have to take a break from doing the count.
I swear, if one of us gets brown out in a few moments, then I won't be surprised. So it's a 4-player tactical squad-based game, RTS, and everyone has their own class, and then you have to upgrade yourselves properly, at least to survive. There's even actually an auto attack function, which takes like half of your energy, and you need energy to shoot. So imagine all of the reloads in between. So it's really tactical. It's really fun. That is not the game I'm going to review. So there you go.
But do you have to be a Warhammer?
Thank you for
it's 40k, right?
building it up just so like we're not doing that.
But do you have to be a 40k fan to like it? You said it's 40.
No.
You don't. Okay.
It looks like the 40k
Universe.
Dawn of War 2, yes, but it's not. It's not. It's its own universe, its own game, its own power suits. That's what they call it. So there you go. It's a good Red Solstice 2.
Red Solstice 2. Check it out.
Very good.
Check it
Hey,
out.
we have some people on. To everyone who have joined the show, good evening, good evening. So, yeah, now that we're kind of done with the usual intro stuff that we usually do, tonight's episode is going to be kind of different. The topic that we had prepared, we really wanted to have Denmark and Ron present for that. So instead, we wanted to take this opportunity really to have more members of the Variable Play Network join us as we get to know them better. And also talk about, how they got into the hobby, and also learn a bit more about the content that they'll be adding into the Variable Play Network. So, I have some questions sort of prepared, but I'll throw them in while we're just continuing the conversation. But the very first starting point that I wanted to kind of, jump off on was to find out how you guys got into the hobby. So I guess maybe we can start with Morgan. So Morgan, walk us through, I guess, how you discovered board gaming. Like I came from Magic and then got introduced to board games. So like, Ron was also a TCG player with Warhammer. Not World of Warcraft, and then got brought into board games. So how did it work out for you?
All right. So for me, sa akin, it all started with with the game where my former office mates used to play, which is called Love Letter.
Okay.
And like there is this one lunch break that we have. I think that was like around 2017. No, no, sorry, 15 because I started the hobby 2016. So, every lunch, lagi sila nagkakagulo in one spot. And then, there were some laughter, medyo maingay, ganyan. And then one time, I was about to leave the office. Even before leaving, ayun, they were playing. And then I tried to check it out. Ano ba yung pinagkakaguluhan nyo dyan? Eh, try mo. How do you play this? Madali lang. So, just read the card, draw a card, play the card, and then just do what it says on the card. That's it. And then, ayun, tumagal ako mga 2 hours bago ako nakauwi. And then, yeah, that it all started to that game. And then, ayun, I was also somehow, there are also events now when I gather with my discipleship group. There's this one guy who's been telling stories about board game cafes. Kasi yung time na yun, parang nagbo-boom pa lang yung mga board game cafes eh. Parang they went into this restaurant daw, and then ang daming board games. So, sa akin parang ang boring naman. Maglalaro lang kayo ng board games. Ay, punta kayo sa restaurant para maglaro ng board games.
Grabe naman sa sumunod.
Ayun nga.
Boring.
Kaya kasi,
You
boring
say
eh.
that now, sir.
Yeah. Well, that was
You see,
before naman. Like more
and just
6
to
years
add
ago.
into that, yun, the other half has chimed in.
Yan, patay ka.
No, ayan na. Night shift pa ako na, no. Kaya 2 hours. 2 hours after is mga ano na yan. Dapat
I have a tiny follow-up question. It's just a little important to me, but probably not to anyone else. What version of Love Letter were you guys playing?
Oh, dude, that's a good question.
I really don't know kasi yung copy nung friend ko sa office, it was like just a printed version na merong siyang sleeves, nilagay niya yung card, yung playing cards.
Okay.
Pang DOS. And then nilagyan niya lang ng papel. I think the art is like,
if it's black and white,
black and white.
Black and white. Oh, that's the version I also really like, the Kanai version.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Kanai
the
version.
Kanai,
Yeah, the one with 2 princesses. That's correct, right?
Yeah, right.
Or a prince,
yun
whichever
yung
you
version.
choose. Yeah.
Yun yung version. So yung version nung recently, parang sobrang ganda na nun. Pag yung EEG ba yun? Sorry.
The one that,
AEG version.
yeah. I mean, AEG Kanai is also the same. And then what went after that was the one that came in a red velvet bag, the Tempest version.
Ayun, the
Tempest.
Tempest version pala. Tempest version. Ayan.
Yep.
I like Flying Garden, that spin-off of Love Letter, where you can combine 3 decks at least.
Oh.
Yeah, if I Flying Garden. So
Yeah, the
tapos
Flying
ayun,
Garden.
tapos nasundan, tapos parang the next week nagdala naman Coup, and then nagdala ng Resistance. And then for me, parang that brought me to the bili kaya ako, palaro ko kaya sa mga board mates ko kasi I was still living on a boarding house that time. And then, ayun, it started with that. And then hanggang sa nag-grow, okay, nanood ng mga shows ni Will Wheaton. I even tried to collect the Will Wheaton games. Ganun ako kabaliw. Tapos, okay, I even tried to collect, tinignan ko sa Wikipedia, okay, ito yung mga Spiel des Jahres. Sige, bilhin ko nga itong mga to kasi nanalo eh. Kasi ganun yung mindset ko, ganun yung thought process ko.
Ganun naman eh. Top 100 ng BGG, ganyan.
Wala, di ko pa alam yung BGG. Yung BGG
Hindi
sobrang...
pa.
Kasi yung BGG, it's like yung layout niya parang parang pang forums eh. Na
Yeah,
ang boring din tignan.
the original layout was not good. Yeah.
It's parang hindi siya kaakit-akit puntahan, alam mo yun. So ganon. So ang pinupuntahan ko talaga si Will Wheaton, yung Dice Tower hindi ko masyado, and then yun nga yung Spiel des Jahres. And then ayun, yung Munchkin, I can still remember how na sobrang tuwan-tuwa ako sa Munchkin dati. Kahit sobrang
Everybody starts liking Munchkin, I think. Parang
It's a trap.
I bought it in the States and I never liked it for some reason.
Wow. You're ahead of the curve, Kio.
Ayan, pero prior to that, I
had
usually
different
play MOBA games naman before that. And ayun
So,
nga. So,
you mentioned that you considered buying a game at that time. What was your first board game purchase?
okay, my first board game ko yata, sa Abubot ko pa yata nabili nun, if you remember Abubot.
Yep.
Abubot, yes. Abubot.
Yeah, I also bought yung games na nalaro ko. Yun lang yung alam ko that time, Cool, Love Letter, and The Resistance. Tapos bumili ako nun sa gaming library. And then, yeah, I think yun yung mga first game ko talaga, mga pang deception party, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so hidden role games. Not bad,
Yun,
man.
Yeah.
yun. Tapos Exploding
Eating
Kittens.
someone's
Eating
lying.
Mitsurugi.
When someone's lying. No, Javi.
Ah.
That was good. That was good.
I love hidden role games. So,
Ayun.
so okay, we'll turn it over to Jake. So, Jake, almost similar situation. Okay, so like how you got into the hobby, and I guess instead of like what was the first game you bought, like when did you decide that you really wanted to also like start building a collection of games?
Oh, cool. So my origin story, sige. So I probably started playing in 2010. So I've been in the hobby quite a while now. 10 plus years, 11 years na. And I was probably 3 years removed from graduation, working in some office job. Tapos among yung barkada ko sa office, were young, curious yuppies. And we wanted to explore new activities, right? So tara, basketball tayo. Tara, magano tayo, swimming tayo. Tara, mag-bowling tayo. Lahat ginagawa namin. Meron kaming what we call Try Something New Tuesdays. So every Tuesday.
Wow, that's good.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting talaga. So ang rule lang ng Try Something New Tuesdays, somebody brings a topic na nobody knows anything about. So we did a driving range. We went to like paintball and stuff. Yung mga wala kaming alam. Yeah, so sobrang cool siya. So when it came to my turn to suggest something, I kept on seeing these parang board games nga sa Hubs and Lands BGC. So I was super curious all this time. So sabi ko, ang suggestion ko, hey, why don't we buy a board game? Chip in tayong lahat. Tapos let's just try it. So yun, nag-start ako mag-research online. Ano ba itong mga board games ito? Nahanap ko yung Board Game Geek. Uy, maganda raw itong Arkham Horror. Uy, maganda raw itong Power Grid, etc. Eventually, I settled on purchasing Dominion. Dominion was like the hotness in 2010, 2011. Tapos, 2,000 pesos lang siya. Oh, mabagets pa yan. Bagets pa kami niyan. As in, parang let's go. Let's prove ourselves out there.
Randy Santiago,
Grabe naman, 80s naman siya. 80s na. Grabe naman. But anyway, bumili kami ng Dominion. And then, as a group, ako yung natokang mag-aral ng Dominion, nakasuggestion ko. We went to like a Starbucks in BGC. Tapos yun, linaro namin yung Dominion. Tapos, ako natuwa ako. Like, I still remember na parang, bibili ako ng copper. Bobo, hindi niya, maling moves. Bibili ako ng Dachi. Ganun. Pero excited kami sa ginagawa namin. Bibili ako ng Village. Ganun. Tapos, tumang-tuwa kami. Tapos, after that, siguro sa barkada na yon, ako yung talagang yung nag-resonate sa akin yung board games. I started buying more. Tinago ko na yung Dominion na yun, akin na yun, parang gano'n. tapos I bought,
Group
I remember,
pero sa'yo na.
ako na magtatago, guys. Akin na to. Yung Arkham Horror, bumili ako afterwards. Nalala ko yung Arkham Horror. I bought that from Hans Fernandez. Hello. Back then, hindi pa siya si Gaming Library. Si Hans Fernandez lang siya na nagbebenta ng second hand ng kanyang Arkham Horror. So doon ko siya na-meet. Na-meet first time ko si Hans in the hobby back then. And then so on. So from after that, I just started collecting and I met all of these guys later on, sila Adrian, etc. Things like that.
Hey,
Hello,
Paula.
Paula Hernandez.
Si Ma'am Paula.
Look who it is.
Ma'am Paula, sabi ko, shout out ko na si Paula pag nandito kami.
PM sent.
Who is-
Paula.
His name is Jake.
Wow.
Smiley.
Is it me you're looking for? But yeah, that's my origin story. What was the second question, Abby? Sorry.
No, like when did you you mentioned that you started buying up games, but at what particular point did you I want to collect board games?
Yeah. Turning point.
I think everybody knows this na the best thing with board games is yung unboxing it and discovering it and then by having a new game. Sobrang exciting siya, nakaka-addict siya actually. So I think nung natutunan ko yung Dominion, tapos nalaman ko yung the big world of board games, sabi ko, ay hindi, bibili pa ako sa Hubs and Lands. Meron pang, ano tong Power Grid? Parang masaya tong Power Grid na to.
Grabe, mahal pa ng
Wow,
binibigyan
but
mo,
you took
The
chances.
Meralco game.
That's super interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same path with Morgie that I found Will Wheaton's tabletop and then kind of started picking certain titles based on how good the episodes were.
Oh, no. Ako,
No.
BGG ako. I saw the BGG top 100. Tapos, nakalagay doon, mataas yung Power Grid. Sige, subukan natin to.
So,
Uy, mataas yung Arkham Horror.
A true Squirtle, gotta catch them all.
Sa simula,
The thing is,
masaya
back
lahat eh.
then, BGG was such a boring page. It's just all text.
Hindi, saka also
Right,
Tom
right.
Basel was starting to become a big
Diba?
deal back then. Actually, si Tom Basel started talking about his reviews, etc. Yon, he was really helpful in leading me down the path, the dark side. No, sorry, not the dark side, the board game side. But yun.
You know, actually, but for BGG, that the site really just looked like a database. They
It
had a
does.
channel, the channel that was just a game night. I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed it a lot more. That
Recently.
The guy with the long hair, I love his hair.
Lincoln, yeah.
Lincoln,
So I watched a lot of their episodes sort of in conjunction with Will Wheaton. Because you had to wait like a month for the next episode.
That's true. Parang parang accountant yung gumawa ng board game. Sorry, no offense to accountants. I work in a bank, pero medyo ganong level yung kanyang creativity.
Andun pa yan eh. Just click the dash. Hindi, actually maganda na tong dashboard eh.
Maganda na yun ngayon. Well, hindi pa rin super amazing, pero it's an improvement.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
true.
they at least updated the logo and stuff like that. It's a step
Yeah.
towards the right direction, I think. So,
Yeah.
Keo, you know what? You've been in enough episodes that I know the story, but for the benefit of people who are watching, maybe you can walk us through how you started in the hobby, and
Oh, am
also,
I?
you know, at what point did your digital gaming hobby and the board game hobby started intersecting?
Good point. Well, 2005, I graduated from college, but before then, I was already intrigued, not by Magic, but by HeroClix. I was the-
Intrigero pala to si Kiyo.
I was into comics. Okay, I mentioned in the previous episode that I used to draw. I was an artist, so I collect a whole plethora of comics, heavy metal magazines.
Those are
DC,
nice, man.
Image, Marvel
Yeah.
mostly, X-Men predominantly, and then here comes the first series of HeroClix Infinity Challenge. Like, whoa, finally a Marvel game. Wow. And you keep track on the figures. Long story short, I started from there. And then from that particular place in Taft, there's a board game.
In
and
University
Hub Place.
Mall.
Yeah,
Tokyo
University
ba yan?
Mall.
Anong pangalan?
Mall. I forgot the name. It was run by a husband and wife team. Now they would actually loan games. Parang
Wow.
they would give loans instead of paying up front. Like, sige, I'll pay me next week lang. You can get it now. That's where Mage Knight boomed for that particular era for me. Mage Knight, HeroClix, even that other big one, the one with these big figures, 6-inch figures.
Shadowrun?
Shadowrun. And then eventually someone sold me their magic cards for 600 pesos. And I'm like, what's this magic thing you're talking about?
What is this?
What is this magic thing you're talking about? He even gave me a bag with it. Gave me a
Yun yung clincher no, may bag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but-
came with a bag.
a backpack. Yeah, dude, seriously, it came with a backpack. He gave
600
me
pesos sa backpack ka pa. Wow.
600 pesos with the backpack and 1,000 cards. What? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
lahat
day,
basic lands.
yeah, basically, I was able to create at least eight complete different colored decks.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I
That's a
gave it
pretty
all
good
to my
collection.
friends, and then had a small tournament, and all of their girlfriends hated me so much.
PI.
Because all the guys were already playing in the tambayan. They're like, we're supposed to be studying. What are you doing? What? 5 minutes na, 5 minutes. And
Do,
then,
do they still remember that and resent you for it till this day?
oh, they still thank me for it. You know? They're like, oh, dude, Kia, remember when I used to sneak out of class just to play our tournament? Because the winnings of that tournament, I said, with the winnings, with the remaining cards I have, create your own deck. You got your own deck. Out of just paying 20 pesos to join the mini tournament because I have no
Wow.
idea how it works.
Did you the thing with Magic is once you get into it, parang it's so hard to stop not buying. So did you eventually just go out of that backpack? How soon before you started buying beyond the
Ah,
backpack?
Good
Me about-
question.
Took me about 6 months
Oh,
because
not bad.
I discovered pirated games in the computer. 'Cause, of course, I was a cheapskate back then. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, God. Piracy is bad. Okay, I know. So
Yeah.
basically, legit
You said the
computer
forbidden
games.
word.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Bootlegs. Ew. And then PC gaming became my current hobby back then. Took me about 4 or 5 years until the turning point after my marriage.
Oh,
My wife knew that I liked and loved PC games. We had
Akala ko I liked and loved her. Ano pala? PC.
That's probably a given. You know.
This is after I got married. So, syempre, hobby. Hanap ko ng hobby. Diba? So, from then, on the first birthday I had after my wedding, so that's like a year after, she gave me Talisman from Little Ground.
Oh, that explains it. Like, no
And then-
wonder it's like almost tattooed on you.
Exactly, dude. The fact that when I first opened the board game, I was like, this is a board game. Okay, it's got a box, smells like Monopoly. Okay, sure, why not? But when I opened it, I'm like, oh, there's statistics per character. There's the board is pretty big. This is like it's roll and move like Monopoly. So I guess it's okay. When I tried it, I was like, whoa, this is open world. This is an open
Diba?
world RPG. Go anywhere you want, and no game is ever twice. Never the same because the
Yep.
small cards, those tiny little cards which I've never seen before. I was like, yun nga, it changed my perspective, everything. And then eventually, I discovered Amazon online, and then I started down buying expansions. And then, what comes with a board game? Sige, answer me this question. What comes with a board game inside the box that makes you want to buy more?
What, the
Pamphlet.
ad insert?
Pamphlets.
The pamphlet, the brochure.
Yeah,
From then on, I became an FFG fan.
They're
through
the
and
only
through.
ones that do that. Maybe Sibon. Like, who
No,
else?
there's a lot. I guess a lot
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And then from there, that catalog gave me a whole list of things on my wish list. Eventually, I started collecting FFG games until I went to Makati, and that game board, Makati Marauders, showed me
Oh, yeah.
the bigger world of wargaming and also board games. I was never into wargaming, but at least the fact that there were a bunch of there's a safe place for people to actually play these things after work.
Safe places.
Yeah. Is it
Uh,
okay to bring this here? Will
will
people
it-
like kick me?
Will the police,
can I
the
bring
police
this here?
barge into the door? What you're doing illegal. Speaking of illegal things, I think you've had this experience siguro, no? Pero like when I was
Yeah.
playing before in BGC, like one of the places wouldn't let us play. Sabihin ko na, Del's. Del's is like the karinderya style na pwede kang magbumili ng beer, etc. Di ba?
Yung
Didn't
turo-turo
want-
yan, no?
Oo, di ba?
Takot
Yung ulam.
na takot silang maglagay ng ulam. Parang takot.
Exactly. Maganda yung tables nila. You can go up sa taas, may second floor sila, etc. Tapos ayaw nila kami paglaruin kasi because when you're rolling dice and you have paper money, mukha raw kayo nagsusugal. Mukha kayong gambling. So, the fact na order ka ng beer, tapos meron kang maglalaro ka ng board games,
May cards ka.
may cards ka, etc. Mukha kang nagsusugal. So,
You know what?
interesting.
One game used to get that so bad, Splendor, just because it had poker chips.
Poker chips,
Oh,
etc. So I just, na-connect ko lang to sinasabi niyo na, is this a safe place? Well, Dels thought na sila, susugurin sila ng pulis kapag naglaro kami board games. So there you go.
You know,
Correct.
actually, I remember also that when I started playing Magic, and you go to shops, that you see a lot of people selling and trading on their own, and
Yeah.
of course you can't do that in the shop. So you end up like walking away and meeting in the side, like in the food court. And you have people with binders flipping through, and like cards for cash. Like somebody will just hand you 100, and from the tables beside you are these bewildered people. Na parang like really
What's going on?
that,
Yeah.
that for that
What,
much?
what contraband is this?
Something's going down in the food court in Makati.
Food court. Any food court actually. Green Hills, di ba? A lot of food court doon exchange ng
Ortigas, the food court
but,
over
but,
there.
the added layer of that, you can't do it in the shop, so ginagawang patago really makes it look shadier than it needs to be. So wait, just to wrap that up. So you mentioned, okay, like pretty much discovering sort of the physical board games after the hobby of video
Yes.
gaming. So, but
Yes.
at what particular point, or like was there like a specific game that you think was like that bridge between your digital gaming hobby and physical board game hobby?
This will sound really, really, really weird and also kind of redundant, but Talisman.
Oh, the digital version. Fair enough.
It's like, hey, they made it into a digital version. I don't have to bring the board everywhere.
But you know what?
Now it's
I
on
was,
mobile. All right.
I was gifted a copy of Talisman Digital, and I super enjoyed it. And the fact that I don't have to set it up,
Yes, that's true.
like,
That's true.
sold.
Although, just to be clear, I enjoyed so much of those turn-based kind of games, tactical, RTS, maybe 4X type of games, okay, like Civilization and the like. And yet, those were digital back then, and there was never a board game similar to those kind of games because they can do so many things in digital, obviously. But when I saw Warhammer digital, because I was so intrigued with the war game of Warhammer. Although I could never get myself to buy 36d6, 36d6 in a single box. But when they presented to us 40K on digital and gave me a whole lore full of colorful, big armored battery guys. So yeah, that's what got me into intriguing on finding out these IPs. These IPs were so good, and they originate from tabletop, and therefore we branch out to other things. So yeah, and here we are.
May side
D&D right behind me.
May side question ako on all of your origin stories, I guess. Like what parang we discovered board gaming at some point back in the last few years. Pero what was preventing you from discovering it previously? Like, were you doing a different hobby? Did
Magic.
you like something else, etc.? Ako kasi,
Comic.
yung akin, I'm gonna answer it. Sweldo yata yung reason. kasi di ba sabi ko,
Fair answer.
exactly, kasi
That's
feel
always.
ko I've always been attracted to, like, I played chess before. I like comics also. With my meager allowance, I was collecting comics. Pero once you start working and you have your own money, you're like, I'm free to spend on anything. I can eat anything, but I'm not gonna eat. I'm gonna buy toys. Parang ganun. I'm just gonna
I
do
need to
that.
get home.
I actually can so relate with this mindset, but for me, actually, just to answer that directly, I mean, I've explained this in previous episodes, but I was really focused on Magic the Gathering, and I was playing with a team, and it was competitive. And as like one of like those practice nights, when it ended, we all ended up in a friend's house and they brought out Ascension just to play it. And from there, I kind of like was introduced into like a contained game. No expansions, no customization, that everything is in this box and this is the
Exactly.
game. That and technically no playthrough of it will ever be the same.
Yep.
Because
cube.
everyone's decision making is very different, but it always has the same starting point. So like it was super interesting, and I won my first playthrough, which definitely helped.
Important.
That's why
Important.
like okay, and lo and behold, I ended up buying my own copy, like maybe a few months right after that.
Yeah. Ikaw, Morgan, I don't know, like, did you know board games before or just nagkataon lang? Ano yung reason?
I play Magic before, like competitive Magic, during time nung I started with Ravnica hanggang Lorwyn Morning Tide.
Okay.
And then bumalik ng Innistrad sila Snapcaster Mage,
Damn.
tapos nag-quit ulit, parang on and off. Yung uso pa sino yung artifact na enchantment na plus 2 yung artifact? Tempered Steel. Yan, bumalik ako ng Tempered
Wow,
Steel.
the first deal.
Tempered Steel aggro. Ayun. So I play Magic and then I play Hearthstone. Pero ngayon hindi.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Wow, yeah, I forgot about
I
Hearthstone.
never got
So
into
that kinda parang was taking up what would have been discover mo sana yung board games. You were playing Magic a lot. You were playing
Yeah.
Hearthstone a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Similar. I played Hearthstone
Yeah.
a lot also.
We're pretty much on the same boat. But I used to play board games when I was a kid, and we had a really good board game collection when I was growing up. But yeah, parang it kind of just slipped away from my mind until it popped up again later on when we were doing competitive
That's true.
Magic.
Yes.
So that's actually a good side question. But actually, with that, I did prepare some questions, and today I wanted to get recommendations from you guys, so to kind of get an idea of your taste in games. So it will be different for each of you, just to kind of get some idea. So let's start with Morgie. So let's say that you have a friend that is really into sci-fi, and you want them to get into board gaming. Give me 3 sci-fi themed board games you'd recommend they start with.
Ang hirap to start with.
Well,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be
Kailangan
a
sci-fi?
start. It doesn't. Yeah, well, let's say
Actually,
that is the
up to
theme.
you. Yun yung interesting eh. Up to
Yeah.
you.
It doesn't have to be an intro game, but let's just say that their interest is sci-fi. So,
Okay.
if you would recommend 3 titles to them, what would those titles be?
Okay. Siguro number 1, I would recommend. Well, I did recommend this naman na before. I would recommend Gaia Project. Although it's a complicated game, I was able to teach this to my office mates and they really love it. Well, my office mates naman are, aywan ko, for some reason, madali nilang na-pick up yung mga medium to heavy, and that's one thing I recommend. I would, sci-fi, ang hirap ng sci-fi ah.
Mahirap nga yung sci-fi actually.
What other sci-fi
Space,
games?
space, robots.
Robot,
Okay.
space.
Recently, I just recommended this itong during pandemic lang. I thought siguro mga 5 people on this game, and it is Anachrony.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Time
Yeah,
travel,
very
mech suits. Yeah, man.
Time traveling game. Yan, ayun.
That is such a beautiful game.
It was a favorite game like for a week, and then biglang na over ng ibang games like Terraforming Mars and stuff like that.
Yeah, flavor of the week, ganun.
Yeah. And then siguro for fun, I would also recommend The Crew.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hard.
Okay, very good.
That's good.
The Crew.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's space themed.
It also saka meron siya sa BG Board Game Arena. sa BGA.
Right. Okay,
So,
very
yeah.
good.
Those are the top 3 games I would recommend. The sci-fi yung
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Oh, so Jake, sa'yo naman, man. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh.
Hey,
Ayan.
Oh,
Leuven,
good job.
yeah.
Hi, Leuven. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
So,
Leuven.
Jake, for you naman, man, let's just say that one of your friends is saying that parang it's too hard naman to learn board games. It's too mathy. Parang what would be
Oh,
like
smart
three
people.
recommendations that you would give that would circumvent that or kind of break that
Yeah.
preconception?
Yeah. So nung sinabi mo yan, our first thought about games that are more creative than counting points. I think yun yung what I would recommend to that person. So the first thing that came to mind, for example, is Dixit. I think if somebody who doesn't like the points aspect of board games wants just to have fun and tawa-tawa lang with his friends, I would recommend Dixit because there you get to show off your creativity, your personality, and not necessarily how good you are at math, diba? So Dixit is one. Another thing is any of the traitor type games like Resistance. I think that's another thing that I would recommend because again, it's a game where may notion kasi yung mga tao who ask this question na parang mas matalino yung taong kalaban ko, tatalunin niya ako because pang matalinuhan lang tong mga board games na to. But not in Resistance. It's about who is better in hiding his or her true intentions. So
Bluffing, yeah, bluffing. How good you are.
bluffing, acting. May acting din ng Resistance. So that's why
Yeah.
I really love it. And then I guess something simple then I guess King of Tokyo. Like just to
Oh,
be
very
different
good,
also
very good.
would be a good game to recommend. Again, the nice thing about these games is it's less about are you smarter about the other person. There's like merong room for discarte, merong room for randomness, etc. Just like in King of Tokyo, yung dice sometimes decide how the game goes. So maraming come from behind victories in King of
Yep.
Tokyo sometimes.
Good point. Good point.
Exactly, di ba? So yeah, I think yun yung off the top of my head without doing any research, sabihin ko nasa game store kami, uy, bilhin mo yan, uy, maganda yan, ganun. I think yun yung mga games
Alright.
na I recommend.
Good picks, man. I agree with the picks. So, Keo, for you naman, let's say that they want something familiar that they know para it's easier for them to kind of accept and learn the game. So
Okay.
like what three IPs would come to mind like for board games that you'd recommend? Para alam na nila nung theme. It's just they can move on na to learning the game.
Dungeon Dragon system. Okay.
Okay.
The best game in the world, halos. RPG. They have a board game for that. So, dun pa lang, Dungeons and Dragons, pen and paper. I'll tell them, even better. Everything's already set up for you. And we just discover the board as we play along. Like, whoa, Fog of War? Yes, there is Fog of War. And let's see. Something familiar. Warhammer. It's pretty old too itself. It started in the 80s and all that. So if someone wants to play a game, you say Warhammer. Like, oh, that's too expensive. That's like minis. That's like dice. I'm like, no. There are other spin-off games of the Warhammer. So we've got card games like the Death Angel. We've got other IPs like the Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Quest, RPGs as well. And what else would be?
They even have one of the weirdest ones, Blood Bowl.
Oh, the football. Yeah,
That's right. So
it's
it's a football game in the Warhammer universe.
Diba? And people are familiar with orcs, with any Lord of the Rings type of a theme, diba? So what else would there be? What else themes? Anything Star Wars. Okay.
Oh, well, there's so many. There's so many Star Wars games.
Kasi,
Okay.
not everybody watches Game of Thrones. Because obviously it's on R18 and above. If there are people younger than that or have no access to this kind of things. But if you say Star Wars, they're like, oh, I know that based on the movie. Ganon. So there you go.
All right, good picks, man. So there, I wanted to ask these questions also, like for those who are watching, to kind of get an idea of, like your taste in games and what you would suggest to people. So we're gonna shift to a different topic that all three of you sort of have like an admin role within the board gaming community. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that and. Like, we'll start with Keo. So, Keo, yours is like the Fujitsu Gaming Group, right?
Yes, that's right.
So, what would you say would be like one of the challenges and also one of the highlights of being like a leader for like a gaming group?
how to find games for more than 10 people.
Yeah.
Right? Without going beyond the line of Ultimate Werewolf. That is just crazy. But if you can teach them Avalon, you teach them Spyfalls. Wow, yeah. You teach them Telestrations. It's easy to get into games, okay? Because it's for me, it's more about the interaction that they should have, so they can have their own network rather than relying on the Fujitsu group itself. So if they know people, if they become friends with everyone else in the club, they can make their own connections, make their own game nights, choose their own kind of games, and then I guess the purpose of having the club in the office is a success. That's the whole
Okay.
point. Lighting the match, starting the fire, and let it spread to whoever wants to learn and also meet new people. That's it. That's my purpose.
Well, I'm just
Oh.
gonna suggest one game that all really worked well for me when I was starting as a group game. Hey Ron,
Hey,
I don't know,
Ron.
and I feel like this game doesn't get mentioned enough. Time's Up, Title Recall. Have you
Oh,
played that?
yes. It's awesome.
It's awesome, right? And I
Hindi may
feel like
tatlong levels, di ba?
yeah, and then I don't see it in like the top 3, top 10 of people because feel ko para siyang cult following yung Times of Title Recall. I just remember it when Keo brought up 10 people. It's so perfect yung Times of Title Recall. So people listening, people watching, this is like a cult game that I don't hear people mention enough. But please,
Yep.
if you can, once in your life, play Times of Title Recall.
It's a very interesting way to play like these trivia games. I actually play a version of it with my relatives and my cousins. So pretty much you start off with a full on title that
Yes.
you, so let's just say like you're gonna say Godzilla. Okay, so you need someone to guess that word. On the second round, now it's that you can only use gestures so that
But
you
you're still
will
using the same pool of titles.
exactly,
Yun
it's the
yung
same
exact-
pool of titles. So there's a little bit of recall because you use those words in the last round. And then when you move to the final round, you make it even more difficult that you just have like one word to say or like you can only do one thing and they have to go back to previous rounds. So you if you are not paying attention, you
Yes.
will fail. So
Yun yung-
everyone is focused.
Exactly. Yun yung key part eh. It's like 10 people, 9 people looking at you act out Godzilla. And they will remember it. It's amazing in terms of getting people like interacting. A big group.
I'll look it
That's,
up.
you know,
I'll look it
yeah,
up.
it's good that you brought that up. Okay, that's awesome. So Morgie, so yours is the Gateway group, right? Tabletop Gateway,
You're right.
right? So for you as like being one of the moderators and admins within the group, was there ever any a situation wherein you had to kind of or you had difficulty separating yourself as an admin or as like a fan of gaming that you just wanted to take a stance but or that you couldn't because you're one of the moderators?
Yeah. I remember a couple of them. Like someone is sending me a PM, like telling me na, oh yeah, sir, lumalaki na yung game. Parang kailangan na yatang lumalaki na yung game, lumalaki na yung group, dumadami na yung pumapasok sa Discord, medyo parang kailangan mo nang i-manage, i-moderate, and then I learned na there is this guy that suddenly just jumps into your voice chat asking what you guys are playing, tapos biglang aalis. Parang for them, they see it disrespectful, something like that.
Who you?
Basta ang kulit eh, nagkakaroon ng mga issue like that, and then there are some issues na someone may umaalis na lang bigla sa game while in the game, something like that.
Leavers,
And,
leavers.
what else? Ano ba?
Si Ron yan, Ron Villaver.
Yeah,
Tama
which we
lang,
learned
tama
about
lang.
last
Tama
week.
lang.
The things we learned about Ron.
Yeah, so ang sa akin lang, so yeah, as an admin of the group, I can't help but just to, hindi natin makakontrol yung behavior ng ibang tao kasi yeah, we do have our different personalities and may iba-iba din tayong triggers, what triggers someone. So ako, we just continue to welcome people regardless of alam mo yon kung what the personalities are. May isa parang tanong ng tanong, tinuturuan mo namin board game geek mo lang yung tanong mo. He usually ask, how long is that game? Something like that. Board game geek lahat yan.
Keyboard game geek mo. Hashtag keyboard game geek mo.
Wag mahiya.
Merong isa gusto niya
magtanong.
Merong isa parang kasasali mo lang, pakaka-discover na ng board game, gusto niya mag-jump sa mga Terra Mystica, yung mga gano'n. Sabi ko, nako, you need to play more muna. Okay, so gano'n.
You gotta play first, boy.
Yeah.
Pero alam mo, okay lang yun, di ba? Kasi it's funny, pero at the same time, ganyan talaga pag excited ka sa board games.
Well,
diba?
totoo.
Sa simula, di ba?
Totoo.
I mean, malay mo ba na yung Terra Mystica, o exactly, saka malay mo ba yung Terra Mystica, ano mo pala, isa-sacrifice mo na yung ano mo, yung lunch time mo. Di mo alam.
It's just so if he is talking to me like we're playing a physical game, no problem. Pero it's different in online world. Like
Challenges in online world.
Yeah, teaching board games in online world na hindi mo hinahawakan yung pyesa, you have to teach it with the mouse pointer. Sobrang ang laki nung difference. Even like the game that I mentioned a while ago, Anachrony, until now, hindi ko pa siya maituro ng sobrang saglit. The last time I taught it took me 1 hour and 45 minutes for that simple worker placement game online.
Simple yun, 1 hour 45 minutes.
Anachrony simple? Sorry po
Paano na lang yung complex
I
game?
had difficulty learning that game.
Paano na yung complex game?
Umalis na sila ganan.
It's a game kasi na sobrang dami niya rules. Pero if you're playing it, it's like, ito lang pala. You're just gathering resources to build some buildings. That's it. Yun lang naman yung ng Anachrony. Yung how you get mostly points na lang.
Alright.
So yeah,
Nice.
so that's it. So yeah, ayun. Hindi ako pwedeng kumampi to someone or kasi again,
parang like you know, there's certain games that you really are passionate about, and when you see people posting about it, like, I want to defend this, but I have to be neutral.
Right. So, wala.
So, Jake, then sa'yo, it's for Philippine board game enthusiast, right?
I joined Adrian on Philippine Game Trader. So ako
Game Traders.
Doon na kami nag-admin niya.
Oh, okay. So from the admin side, so my question to you is that, are there certain things that happen backstage that you really wish people would be able to see? Like, something that you appreciate that you get to see in the back, but people don't really know it's happening there.
Do you mean like bad things, or these are amazing things I want people to see? Or
it's up to you. I mean, if it would be, it's something that you would like, that you wish people could see.
I think in PBE, for example, there was a lot of drama on how si Clint hate is Z.
So the person using the word hot is Clint, the hottest member of variable play.
Clint, Mr. Tizzy.
Yeah.
No. But interesting lang na sa PBE kasi very strict sila, for example, sa posts nila. They wanna screen everything. So when I was helping them do that, I was screening everything. and some people didn't like that, actually. So to clear the air, actually, hindi ko naman rules to screen all the posts. That's always how PBE has done it. So I was just trying my best to also screen it. So that's behind the scenes, di ba? Na I'm screening things, and I think yung mga, for example, some posts na naging drama magnet sa PBE, hindi nga ako yung nag-deny yung iba doon Hindi nga ako yung nag-delete doon sa iba doon. Pero ako lang kasi yung active. Ako yung, guys,
sumasagot.
Ako lang yung sumasagot. Chill guys, okay lang yan. Ano naman, let's respect each other, etc. Alam mo yun, typical like that. So yun yung mga things na I think people don't appreciate, na minsan, kausap mo yung admin, pero tandaan nyo yung admin, team yan, and minsan hindi naman siya yung gumawa nun. May baka yung ibang admin yung gumawa nun. Then the other nice things naman, na wag naman puro intriga. Nice things also that we see actually, I think, is nakikita mo pag when you run a Facebook group, you see all these stats. Na una, hindi ko alam na ang dami palang stats in a Facebook group na you can like figure out. Parang, okay, dito pala pupunta mga tao during lunch. Kaya pala maraming sumasagot during lunch, etc. Yun yung mga ganun fun statistics that you see. I think people don't see that unless you're an admin in a group.
Yeah, like
What can I
like
say
from
except
like
you're
the groups that
welcome?
I'm running, that sometimes it's super interesting to see how other people are jumping in to answer questions and stuff like okay, great, I don't have to do this anymore. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so
yeah,
much for
yeah,
the
yeah,
effort
yeah,
without anyone
yeah.
asking you to do it.
That was one thing na parang this is not really on your question, but Morgan and I, you've been asking us about adminning, no, and the things about it. One thing na I wish na we figure out as a community how we run these groups is merong push and pull between making it a buy and sell group and a discussion group, I think.
Yeah.
So feeling
Yes.
ko as an admin, it's very hard to moderate that kasi minsan may mga taong gusto lang gawin magbenta, mag for sale. Meron ding mga tao na who really wanna do actual conversations about board game. So minsan we're still experimenting about that. Like for example, si Table Up dito, alam ko sila Morgan, they don't allow buy and sell. Si PBE, they're a combination. Kami sa PGT, we just started trying na parang, oh, what if we just make it a conversation group but we allow buy and sell still. Parang ganun. So, I think yun, yung isang interesting na, I don't have an answer yet, but I'm just, one of the things that I think about how best to moderate these groups.
Okay, that's pretty good. Right. So I guess last question, and this one will be something to end in like a very interesting note, because yeah, we're closing towards the hour. What would be one of the games that give me a game title that you did you regret purchasing, and one that you're so happy that you did?
Oh.
So
Oh,
like the both ends of the spectrum, really. Something that you like, what was I thinking? And the other one is that like it's one of the best purchases I've made in my life. Oh,
Sige.
whoever is ready. Okay,
I
okay.
Sige, me. I regret paying for Doom. It's an excellent, artistic, and very well made game. It's so good. The minis are so detailed. But no, it's a one against many type of game, which yeah, it's okay. But you would rather be on the good side and blasting enemies than rather than be the enemies.
Yeah, it's an overlord mechanic,
It's an
right?
overtime mechanic. Yeah, exactly. I don't. This is why I avoided Descent, the 2.0. The Overlord mechanic was not appealing to me. I'd rather be playing with everyone else than against them if I was the owner of the game. Usually, ganun, diba? If you're the owner of the game, ikaw yung overlord, diba? So, ayun, that's one board game I regret buying.
The other side of that, the spectrum, what is one of those games that you're super happy that you added to your collection?
Completed collection of Time Stories. It's
Ah.
complete. The whole white box set. The whole white box set. I took me about 2 to 3 years to hunt all of the set of each box. Some of them came from the States pa. So I'm like,
Oh,
yes, complete. And they're all half of them are no, 3/4 of them are still in plastic.
guess who's online?
Oh
oh,
my
Of
God.
course, Demon Worker, forever Denmark's game. He's so happy he bought it. But okay, yeah, Tang Garden, I was actually considering backing it and I missed out. And now that, like people have their copies, it's interesting that they're just all letting it go. All right, so wait, Morgan, Jake, which one of you are ready? We have one more here. Okay,
First in
best
the
obsession, worst in the year of the dragon. Interesting.
Hmm.
Ikaw meron ka na ba, Morgan? Meron ka
siguro
na?
ako siguro yung regret. It's not actually. Pwede bang medyo mas broad?
Yeah,
Whoa.
of course. I mean, it
It's
doesn't have
not
to
a
be because the
specific
game
game.
was bad. Let's just say, like me, I purchased a game like I have above me here, Clash of Rage. I purchased this right before I was supposed to back I think it was Lords of Hellas, that I was going to make a decision between the two games. I actually kind of regret purchasing this and wish that I would have gotten Lords of Hellas instead. It's not anything about the game. It's more of that I think that I can get so much more gameplay and runs with it than Clash of Rage.
Okay, I see. Okay, siguro for me, the games I regret buying was I not actually a game. It's more of following a certain game designer.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I there was a year like I was so very obsessed with Stefan Feld games.
Yes.
Tapos
I know this year. I know this year. I chatted with Morgan
yeah,
during this year.
I remember purchasing a game of Macau from Geek Bay. Not, is it Geek Bay? Basta sa board game geek store. When you go to let's say a game and then you could may minsan may posting doon kung sino yung mga nagbebenta. I purchased it for like more than $100 plus the shipping
Wow.
just to have that copy kasi it's out of print na.
OG.
Yeah, and then I tried to collect his games talaga as in just because of Castles of Burgundy of some of the games that brought me into Eurogaming. And ayun, upon playing them, parang it's just okay na it ended up being sold. And one of those games, yung isang game naman na nabenta ko kay Jake is Brussels. Bruges, no?
Oh, Bruges.
Oh,
Bruges.
Okay, so yun. Yeah, it's medyo, yan siguro yung isa sa mga somehow very good game for me. Kaso lang, I just lost interest about it. So yeah, sana hindi ako I was just discovering pa nun eh. So I thought, okay itong mga design nitong taong to. Let me buy all of these games. Then without knowing it, hindi pala lahat nagkiklik. So yeah,
Were there more hits or more misses?
it's more misses, unfortunately.
Misses for you.
Okay. And the best game
I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. Mine was
Yeah.
Simon. Anything that Simon was putting out, like I want a copy. Then eventually it's like not every game Simon makes is good.
Yeah.
Ikaw publisher ka naman. Ako designer, ikaw publisher. Okay, yeah. It's a similar stuff. Siguro the game that I'm happy I bought is Lisboa. Kasi
Uy, ako rin yun Galing sa akin yun
yeah, well, I had the retail one na almost muntik ko na rin siyang binenta because I was very impulsive on a certain year. Tapos a friend of mine taught me playing that. Actually, he even went into our house and then I invited a friend. So if you guys know Franco Regalado, he taught me the game. And then ayun, that's where it started. That's where I started opening my mind to a bit on the heavier side of Euro things. And then sabi ko, ang gusto ko tong game na to. It's the first Vital Lacerda games after playing most of them, like Kanban, Gallerist, Vinyos. Yun yung pinaka gusto ko. And then, ayun.
Pinipilit lang sa akin ni Morgan yung mga ayaw niya, Rooney. Hindi na mag-exchange gift eh. Pinipilit niya lang sa bilhin mo na. Bilhin mo na, please.
Yeah, tapos nakita ko yung post ni Jake. He was selling 2 copies of Lisboa na KS. Naalala mo yung yun na yun. And then,
Yep.
binenta ko yung retail ko. Kinuha ko yung KS ni Jake because I really liked the game. And then, ayun. So yun yung parang pinaka-sweet. So, I really thought na when I was collecting Stefan Feld that I would settle for medium. I'm not saying Stefan Feld games are bad. Siguro it's just a personal preference lang on
Yeah. Of course, that's
So,
right. The whole
so-
point here is to kind of get an idea of your taste in games. That's right.
Yeah.
It's not any definitive that like don't buy this game and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just it didn't work for you. Like here,
Right.
this came up just a while ago. So Gloomhaven versus Kanban. You know, I have really wanted to try Gloomhaven, and hearing when people are saying that they didn't enjoy it, it almost makes me want to actually try it more, just to finally experience it.
Is the digital version exactly the same as the board game? Because
I think so.
I could
Question.
give you the experience of the lifetime.
Siguro
Whoa.
I'd like to modify yung question mo, Javi. I'd like to add one more category.
All right.
What category of games I wish I like? It's more on the yung mga games siguro ni Nikio, it's more on the fantasy. Kasi before I board games, I'm a PC gamer then that I like playing RPGs. So yeah, I also tried collecting FFG games. I had Runebound, I had Battlelore. Basta mga RPGs. I have Descent with 2, 3 expansions, Descent the second edition, and gets and ended up being sold lang kasi parang ang hirap din i-set up, parang wala lang, parang takaw tingin lang ako and stuff like that. So ayun.
I feel your pain again, man.
Yeah, takaw
Have you
tingin.
tried the D&D system board games? Have you tried it? Half the fun is creating your character.
No. Siguro
you have it?
pinaka-complex
Oh,
na
dude.
Descent na siguro yung second edition. Yun na yung pinaka-complex na dungeon crawl na nalaro ko. Then I also played Arcadia Quest, something like that.
Arcadia
Zombicide, Black Plague. Yeah. Ayun,
Good. So, okay, let's go. Last but not the least, Jake, have you thought of your two, the
Yeah.
best and worst?
Yeah, so nakakatawa because si Paula kept on mentioning Gloomhaven. I wanted to mention Gloomhaven, pero sa totoo lang, hindi ko naman siya rini-regret na binili ko siya, even though it's like taking up the space of 4 board games on my cabinet right now. And hindi ko naman siya nalalaro. So I think in terms of regret, I think yung answer ko talaga is parang similar to Morgan. It's category of games na I buy. You know how sometimes you buy games because you're thinking, somebody will like these games. Pero not
Right.
not necessarily ikaw gusto mo yung game.
Yes, I
think because you're imagining all the fun you will have playing this game with that person who you think will like this game, parang gano'n. Tapos biglang when you buy it, parang hindi pala nag-work out, parang gano'n, hindi pala niya gusto, or tipong hindi pala masaya yung game, etc. So I have some of those purchases na parang I bought it thinking of enjoying it with a certain game group. Pero ako personally, it wasn't a game na parang I was excited to play. So for sometimes, for example, may mga like Ticket to Ride for a time. I was super into collecting Ticket to Ride because feel ko it's like a good game to peddle to people and play with them, etc. Pero sa totoo lang, hindi naman din ako super 100%. Happy ako like the early versions of Ticket to Ride. Yung later versions, not as much. So yun yung I think my regret. One of my regret purchases. Yung pag bumibili ako ng ganun. Something na I like, na I think other people will like, not necessarily myself. A game na I enjoy or parang na one of my best purchases is, marami akong ganyan, pero the story that really sticks to my mind is in my very first trip to Japan in like 2012, 2013, alam mo yung Yellow Submarine na store sa Japan? Nagbebenta siya ng Magic, nagbebenta siya ng board games, etc. I was just starting in the hobby. Tapos naalala ko, may binibenta silang copy ng Palaces of Carrara in Japan. Pero at that time, nagsisimula pa lang ako. I didn't know that it was like a out of print na magandang game. So, pero naalala ko lang, napanood ko siya sa Rado Run Through. Sabi ko, parang napanood ko ito sa Rado Run Through, di ba? So, parang I bought it blind, thinking na parang maganda yata itong game na to. Pina-explain ko pa doon sa mga Japanese na salesman. Siyempre, di nila ma-explain sa akin. Sabi ko, sige na, ito na yung yen ko. Ito na, kunin mo na yung yen ko. Bibiling ko na itong game na to. Parang ganun. Yeah, exactly. For Yellow Submarine. So, I think that was one of my best purchases because later on, I found out of print na pala yung Palaces of Carrara. So that was probably one of the last copies in the wild. Nasa in some store in Japan, yung last copies in the wild, English. That's where I got to buy my copy of Palaces of Carrara, and I really, really like Palaces of Carrara. So I think that's one of my best purchases.
All right, good. Thank you. So we've hit the 1 hour mark, and I think that my objective to have everyone learn more about you guys was met. Thank you so much for sharing, your stories and your recommendations. So we're going to close this out with something very unique that we've never done in these shows. Each of us have a unique and our own shows on the Variable Play Network. So let's close this out with personal plugs. So Sunday Night Magic with me, Javi, every Sunday at 9 p.m. So to Jake.
Every 2 weeks, Denmark, Ron, Terwell, and myself do the new show. We don't have a name for the new show, no, Denmark. We just call it the new show. So it's the Variable Play new show. We talk about all the recent things happening around in the board game scene every 2 weeks. So this week, wala kaming episode. Next week, we have another episode of that. Every Wednesday.
All
right. KO, you're next, man.
For all games, all digital games, tabletop IPs, and everything digital, You got the Harry Arm Cam coming soon, episode 2. I can't wait for the second opinion. More quacks.
More quack, quack,
Quack.
quack.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
All right, and last but not the least,
All right, for us, it's more we focus on playing games with your significant other. So yeah, similar to the reviewer I followed, I also followed Richard Ham with Mangyado, so which he always play with his wife. So ganon, that's how I personally somehow wanted to have our channel, like how do we connect with people who they who wants to play their games with their significant other, with their wife and stuff like that. Well, since we mostly play two-player games, so yeah, it's G's at the table, and it's held every month, and it's I think the next episode will be probably August 30.
Tinanong muna si Commander. Tinanong muna.
She's right there, so it's perfect.
Tinanong muna si
When again?
Commander.
When again?
Oh, wait lang.
Okay,
Ito na yung
okay.
pangalan ng news
It's
show.
not that regular
News.
pa eh. So yeah.
Yeah, no, so here, apparently the name of the show is called VP News 4 times.
But there's Ron is disputing it. It's 5 news now. Well,
Yeah.
it's one of those you
news,
can't
four.
miss it, guys. It's one of those.
All right, so
How many
Sorry, go
chagas
ahead.
before Choo-Choo? Sige nga, how many?
How
How
about
many
you,
chagas?
Abby? Wala ka bang i-share sa mga questions mo?
I have a question for you, Javi. Yeah, I have
sure,
a
you know
question
what?
for you,
Fine.
Javi.
We have some time. I'll take a question. Sure.
Name 3 board games you would love to teach on a date.
Oh,
Good question.
oh snap!
No, but this
Oh,
is
snap.
that means that this would technically be one-on-one games, or
You're on a date. There is no third fruit.
No,
On a
no,
first,
no,
on a first date, on a first date, so hindi pa kayo magkakilala. So first
Yeah.
date. Yan. Kasi
what
pag
kind
mag-
of what kind of first date starts with board games? Okay,
but
but
this
okay,
this is the question. This is the
This is the
challenge.
question, yeah.
yeah, okay. Love letter might be a good choice.
Love kagad, grabe. O sige, pero okay.
I mean, in terms of like the
Text,
gameplay
text.
itself, the objective. I was thinking, I was thinking of Sushi Go, but it's a one-on-one draft may not work. So,
Si
wow.
Ronnie talaga eh. O, ano,
I didn't get to prepare for this. I have to think of games. You know what? Actually, another one that might be interesting would just be a co-op. Pandemic might work.
Pandemic.
So there, basically, you can work together to meet an objective. So a co-op game is a good idea. Maybe even Forbidden Island, which is pretty much Pandemic, but just with a different setting. It's not all diseasey.
Hanabi.
No.
Read your
know-
mind. You're like, oh.
So love letter and pandemic. Ano yung
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. Let's see what else. 3 titles. It's actually very tricky, man. That's a very
ganda ng
Because
mga question ni Kiyo pang boya
no, it's hard
Oh, diba?
questions, man.
Tito Kiyo na tawag ko siya. Tito Kiyo.
Kiho.
You know,
Okay.
actually,
Tito
you know,
Kiyo.
maybe even something that can play a little quick. That I don't maybe Takenoko.
Cute
Oh,
eh, no?
yeah.
Hey,
Go for the
cute-
cuteness.
It's cute and accessible. It works.
Ang daming sumagot bigla sa chat eh. Oh.
Oh, diba?
Yeah.
Oh, see, Fog of Love. Wow. Going that far.
Wow, Cards Against Humanity. Wow, you just wait. On your first date, you're gonna introduce someone to your twisted sense of
Okay.
humor. Good job.
Good job, boy.
Diyan magaling si
Salute.
Luzin.
Oh,
May tanong
wow.
ako
And-
kay Harvey. Okay.
All right.
Dami tanong kaya.
That's why
Sir
I should have been
Harvey,
prepared for
used
this.
I used to play RPG games. I like dungeon crawler games and stuff. So what board games that do you think I can connect to?
Dungeon crawl. You can always start off with something like Zombicide, but maybe Black Plague so that it has more of the fantasy theme. But the nice thing is that it's such a simplified version of a dungeon crawl. Like you can take that one step further, go to Massive Darkness, and then maybe Descent. Somebody has to be the overlord. I mean, you can get higher and higher, but it's just a nice starting point. Because and then let's say you're more of the Dungeons and Dragons storyteller type, Betrayal. Betrayal on House on the Hill is just B movie horror, or you can go with the Baldur's Gate. And the fact that the dice rolling is just 1, 2, or 0 is so simple that you can already jump in and then move on to maybe a better game afterwards.
Bilhin mo yan,
RPG,
Morgan. Oy, Ronnie.
RPG,
Ronnie, may bibili na naman si Morgan. Bibili siya ng
RPG daw, RPG daw.
Lagot tayo. Oh, lagot tayo. dyan.
I-change mo na password ng BPI. Okay.
Reset pin. All right. So, well, those are very interesting questions. I hope I was able to answer them well. But Chaos question that is something to think about. That could be for an episode in the future. So,
First date board games.
let's say like what did Ron and Denmark bust out for the misses? Like what game was what hooked them in? And they're
Hey,
commenting right now.
I can tell you one game that the missus loves.
Okay.
DC deck building.
Oh,
She
wow. Okay.
loves them superheroes.
But did you know this going into it, or did you just discover it midway?
We discovered, and then when she saw me playing it, or at least doing it solo, she asked, "How do you play that?" And then
Doing
from
it
there
solo.
Whoa!
yeah. Hey, you gotta try it out
See?
first before you.
Confirmation that it works.
Cheesy
Love
pala,
letter.
cheesy pala talaga tong si Denmark. Cheesy. Oy, you wanna play Love Letter?
Mas malupit yung card
Dead
against
of Winter. How good is she when pushing your luck and saying, "No, you die first." Okay.
No,
May traitor. May traitor gag.
1-on-1 Dead of Winter, and there's still a traitor.
You could play it fully co-op naman eh.
Yeah, it's like you can adjust it. I mean, I always like playing with the full complement of like 5 players and a traitor, because it's a different experience. Just like, okay, if you're gonna play Game of Thrones, you gotta play the full 6 player. Any
Yeah.
less, it's not the full experience of hatred towards each other.
Sasabihin ko na naman yung time subtitles recall. Pag kayo yung partner kayo ng date mo, malalaman mo talaga kung ano kayo. Kung swak kayo.
Ma-add to cart na nga yung time.
Ayaw mo yung no thank you, no thank you.
No thanks.
No
Or
thanks, no thanks.
apples to apples.
Uy, mansanas, mansanas. Pwede.
Isa ka sa Cards Against Humanity, no? Pag kung saan siya tumatawa, alam mo na kagad kung vibes ba kayo or hindi.
This is, you know what? This is definitely going to be an episode topic now, because we are stretching way beyond the closing time, and we have so much more to say. That's awesome. All right. So I guess we've done the plugs. So thank you everyone for joining us. There's still comments coming in, which is super interesting. That we really want to feature everyone's comments, but it seems that it really picked up towards the end. But I want to thank the other members of our VP family here for joining us for tonight's episode. We didn't have Denmark and Ron. They had some things to attend to, but I think that what we were able to pull together tonight has been a very interesting episode. And Jake, that painting, that framed photo behind you, man, is so awesome. I want one.
Yeah, do you wanna see it? I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it against wait lang Naka-shorts yata ako ba? Wala ako shorts, wait.
Kailan yan? It's almost 11 p.m. Wala
It's Will Wheaton's tabletop. It's awesome, man.
Nice. That is so nice.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, Javi, take us home.
Yeah. So,
Backdrop yun, backdrop. Good back.
no, but it's was that just like printed and then framed?
Begin.
Printed and in frame. Yeah, from the tabletop Will Wheaton thing. Yep.
All right, there. So in the same vein of how Will Wheaton ends all of his shows, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Just remember, keep gaming. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.